Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching. Before we jump into the AK, first off, I want to say thank you all to the people that viewed the last video. Got several more subscribers since then, so I greatly appreciate everyone who's tuned into the channel. Means a lot to me. So, this is the third rifle that I'll be talking about before I go into my complete overhaul of all my rifles and eventually all my firearms. This is a Century Arms RH-10, not to be confused with the Visca. They do look a lot alike, but there's a lot of key differences between the Visca and the RH-10. For those of you that don't know, Century Arms imports a lot of their AK components, especially for this rifle and the Wasser. They do make a couple of AKs in-house, like the RAS-47 and the Visca, which is the equivalent of the Wasser and the RH-10, but they're made here in the US, and they are, for lack of better terms, dog shit. And I'll give a little backstory behind this AK. So ever since I saw the AK Operators Union video of him doing an RH-10, I've wanted. I've always had kind of a weird fixation with AKs that have 90-degree gas blocks. I don't know why, I just really like that look. And so when I went to buy this AK, I couldn't find an RH-10, all I could find was the Visca. So, me being young and dumb and having money to burn, I bought a Visca, and then about 6 months later, an RH-10 became available, and I ended up purchasing this. I put about 2,000 rounds through the Visca. It never gave me any issues, but it wasn't something that I don't know, after seeing all the reviews, seeing all the fails of it, I wanted something that I could put a little bit more faith in. Century Arms, they import parts from Romania where the Keurig manufacturer is, which makes the primary components for this. So the bolt, the trunnions, I believe the receiver, there's certain components that are put on here to be R199 or 299 compliant, whatever that dumb list is. But Century Arms will import them and then assemble them here in the US. So this is the rifle in its most recent paint job. It was painted a different color. I kind of changed it up for fall, winter. Still not sure how I feel about it. But like the other videos, I'll go front to back, working my way from the muzzle all the way down to the stock. This is a prime example of what not to do with firearms in general. I don't recommend this. I'm doing this for science purposes and because I'm broke. There are a couple of airsoft components on this gun. Nothing important, but to be noted. So this is actually an airsoft muzzle device. It's heat-tempered steel, and it is 14mm negative threaded. And so it fits on this AK. This AK is threaded 14mm negative counterclockwise, and it is pinned on the bottom, so I shouldn't have any issues with that. The barrel is 1-10 twist, chrome lined. Moving back from the barrel, you have your traditional, well, not traditional, but you have a 90-degree gas block, which is being blocked by the flashlight. I have a Streamlight ProTac flashlight on a modified Surefire mount so it can fit at this kind of 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock position. And then we have the Troy AK Alpha Rail. Now, me being the dumb Tarkov nut that I am, I've always wanted this rail, and I always wanted it with this specific gas block. Unbeknownst to me, when I bought the RH-10, they no longer made this rail. I had to scour Reddit for about 8 months before I even found this rail, bought it off a guy from Reddit. They're very hard to come by, but they look awesome, in my opinion. When I went to install it, there was an issue with the gas block interfacing with the top of the rail. So right here, this rail actually extended back another 2 sections, so it blocked me from putting the rail on. So I took the Dremel out, busted it out, and Dremeled away this rail material so this rail could fit. And it works fine just now. Have a Streamlight ProTac pressure switch, no red cellophane cap on this one. I have a Midwest Industries gas tube, which is kind of a pain to install with this rail because I doubt you can see it. Yeah, you can't see it from here, but there are set screws that put downward pressure against the barrel to lock this gas tube in place, and you have set screws that keep this adjustable nut from backing out. I was able to get those set, so this is if you have different variations because not all AKs are made at the same specs. You can adjust this nut to push back and forth to make sure that this is a tight lockup. So moving back from there, you have a standard front sight block. I have a Midwest Industries side rail attachment. This is another airsoft component. This is an Airsoft LCAN Spectre DR. I'd say about 2,000 rounds on this LCAN, and it hasn't lost zero, and I don't think it's going to because it's a mechanical zero. There's not electronic components that can shift around in there. There's nothing dainty or fragile in there that can get shifted around. I mean, the electronics still work, and since it holds a zero from this big lug and this rear screw that controls the elevation and the windage, I don't think it's ever going to lose zero because you can set it and then set screws, and it hasn't backed off at all. Flipping it back over, I have this is the standard selector switch for the RH-10, and I went ahead and dremeled a slot to hold the charging handle back to the rear so I can keep the bolt open if I'm trying to do any maintenance or cleaning or anything like that. You'll notice that this pin is drilled out, and that is because inside here I have a K&S adjustable piston kit, which has helped a lot because this thing, as all AKs are, was extremely overgassed. And the K&S piston kit essentially allows you to regulate how much gas gets shot back into the system, controlling your cyclic, I wouldn't say cyclic rate, but how much gas is needed to cycle the gun. So now I have a very healthy 3 to 4 o'clock ejection pattern. I run just Tula and Wolf, nothing crazy like that. But it definitely tames down a lot, and it keeps me from beating up the tang on the back of the bolt carrier group and the rear trunnion. I don't think it's an ALG or a Tapco G2 trigger. It's just a stock trigger. I'm showing clear here, no brass, anything like that. Very smooth trigger. AKs are kind of hard, a lot harder to rack back one-handed than ARs comparatively. So the trigger's nothing special. I have polished it. Every 500 rounds, I do a good inspection of the bolt and the trunnion, make sure the lockup is still good, head spacing is fine. Moving back, I have a US palm grip. I hate this grip, honestly. Magpul makes a couple of grips that I've been trying that I really, really like. Unfortunately, they don't belong to me. They belong to a buddy of mine on his Wasser. But this will be swapped out along with this Magpul stock. This is the Magpul Zukov stock, and I hate this as well. This gun is probably going to be the most extensive project I have in the future because it's getting rebarreled, it's getting a new gas block, potentially a new front trunnion, and potentially a new bolt. Now, these are unnecessary modifications I'm going to be doing to this AK. This AK doesn't need any of it. I'm doing it to test my skill, to see if I can do it. And for the fact that I'm kind of running out of content, I'm slowly making my way through all my firearms, and I'm trying to make more content for the channel. So, with that being said, this AK is going to have the most work done to it. The dust cover is going to get swapped out for a Texas Weapon System dogleg. The stock is going to be swapped out for a Midwest Industries Alpha Series stock. Now, I've heard a lot of issues with the Alpha Series stock saying that it'll collapse under its own weight after it gets broken in, which is fine because I'm probably just going to modify that stock to where it doesn't fold. I don't know if that's going to be with a set screw or what I'm going to have to do to get that stock to have good lockup, because I don't really care about the folding feature. I've never used it with the Zukov, and I'm probably never going to use it with the Midwest Industries stock. So people saying that it's a bad stock because it collapses under its own weight is fine. I will figure out a way to make sure that it doesn't collapse. The trigger is going to get swapped out for an ALG trigger. The gas tube is going to stay the same. The bolt carrier group is going to stay the same. The bulk of the parts, well, the bulk of the cost is going to come from buying the rebarreling tools. I'm going to buy a 12-ton press and a barrel jig to pull the barrel out, as well as a rivet tool to reinstall the front trunnion rivets. Other than that, I wouldn't say this is my favorite rifle, but it's up there. I love this gun. I love AKs.